Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Amma ba'du fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. By the grace and mercy of Allah Ta'ala, we have been studying the life and the seerah of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib Qadiani alayhi salatu wasalam. And we had covered all the way till the year 1891. And today, inshallah Ta'ala, I'll be presenting to you the year 1892 and main events that took place in this given year. 1892 begins with a specific journey of Syedna Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam to the city of Lahore. Lahore was the capital of the province of Punjab, and Hazrat Masih Maud in the year prior has put forth his claim that he is the second coming of the Messiah, that Jesus, son of Mary, has died, and that Messiah and Mahdi are supposed to be one individual. Vis-a-vis, he is Imam Mahdi as well. So after that, Hazur started doing these tours of different cities, and I've been mentioning in the last couple lectures or so about these tours of Hazur. So one of this tour or visit was to the city of Lahore in the month of January 1892. Hazur came here so that he can meet as many people and explain to them about his claim and do itmam hujjat on them. One day, something very interesting happened. While Hazur was walking towards the masjid, I believe, from the residence where he was staying, in the marketplace, a pagal person, a madman, mad literally in the sense that this man was mentally unstable. He saw that Hazur is walking by himself, and Hazur's followers were at a distance. So this man found his opportunity and quickly ran to Hazur and just hugged him tight. In his mind, maybe he wanted to make Hazur fall or lift him up or something. Hazrat Masih Maud was a Jariullah. He was very physically very strong. So the man couldn't even move Hazur, not even an inch. And he started saying, "I am the Mahdi. How dare you claim that you're the Mahdi?" By this time, of course, Hazur's followers, those Sahaba that were with him, they ran towards the man and they grabbed him and they wanted to give him a good thrashing. So Promised Messiah smiled and stopped them. He said to him, leave this poor man alone. He thinks he's the Mahdi, and I have taken his office. Leave this man alone. Look at this, right? This was the simple character of Masih Maud. Had it been some worldly individual, you can expect the worst from them. But when it comes to someone who is from Allah the Almighty, look at that, the humility of this man of God. During the same tour of Lahore, one day, while Hazrat Masih Maud was answering questions from different people, and in these majalis, in these gatherings, Hindus would come, Arya Samajis would come, Brahmo Samajis would come, Muslims of all walks of life would come, Sikhs would come, everyone would come. And they would show up in big numbers. Big numbers. So on one specific day, while Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam was sitting and answering some of these questions that people would bring to him, there was one follower of Pir Meher Ali Shah Goladwi. Golada Sharif is a gaddi near Rawalpindi. And it's a pretty famous gaddi. And so the head of that gaddi was Pir Meher Ali Shah. So one of the followers of Meher Ali Shah showed up in that majlis, in that gathering, and finding an opportunity, he just started hurling filthy abuses at Masih Maud. Gandi fosh galiyan dini shuru kar di. Masih Maud was his way that he would put his hand on his face and on his beard like this, and he just kept sitting, and he was listening to what this man was doing. Everyone was shocked कि ये क्या हो रहा है. Everyone was shocked at what was happening. And this man, when he had said whatever he wanted to say. Masih Maud said to him, if there is anything else you want to say, go ahead. That simple sentence had such a profound effect on this man that he became repentant and he said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done what I did. And after a few moments later, he got up and he left. There was a Brahmo Samaji individual who was sitting over there, and he was considered as one of the leaders in that city. He was witnessing all of this, and he said, sir, religiously I do not, align with what you believe in. And we have read so many things about the patience that Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, exhibited in his time. But today we have seen your patience and how you exhibited this patience in front of all these individuals. And I, in my heart of hearts, believe that this is truly a miracle of yours. Akhlaqi mujza hai aapka. On the 31st of January, a public lecture was organized in this koti where Hazrat Masih Maud was staying. And when the scholars found out that, Hazrat Masih Maud Sayyidna Ahmad will be delivering a public lecture, they did their level best to stop everyone from coming. So these scholars tried their level best to stop Hazrat Sayyidna Masih Maud. And despite people being told not to go and attend this public lecture, they showed up in more than 10,000 numbers. More than 10,000 individuals showed up. Where were these people going to be accommodated? Some were sitting in the sihin, the veranda, the open space of this bungalow, the koti. Many individuals were sitting on the rooftops of adjacent homes. Many people, wherever they found any space, they just sat over there. In the streets, and before you know it, more than 10,000 people. So imagine 10,000 people were sitting and they were listening to Sayyidna Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud, and they had come just to catch a glimpse of Mirza Sahib. At this occasion, Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud presented his claim. He presented the signs that Allah the Almighty had shown in his support. And then afterwards, as we stated that, these scholars, they are issuing fatwa of kufr against me. And I am a mu'min. I believe in the Holy Quran and I believe in the tenets of Islam. And Holy Quran is very specific. Holy Quran tells you what are the alamatul mu'mineen versus, those who are not mu'min. Holy Quran tells you what are the characteristics, traits of a believer versus someone who's not a believer. So he said, based on these Islamic and Quranic traits, in this very city of Lahore, all of those ulama who are issuing fatwa of kufr against me, I challenge them to come, and based on this criteria from the Quran, let's judge who is a mu'min and who is not. He said, come publicly, and based on the Quran, let's see if I am a mu'min or you're a mu'min. If I am a true believer or you're a true believer. Because Allah Ta'ala says, a true believer will be someone whose prayer is accepted. A true believer is someone from whom nifaq is not possible. A true mu'min is someone, and then Allah Ta'ala mentioned so many of these signs, of the believers, of mu'minun. None of these people would come forward, not even for this. And people were watching. When scholars would try to beat around the bush or run away, people were watching. So during this day in Lahore, there was this Maulvi by the name of Maulvi Abdul Hakim Kalamri. So he wanted to debate Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud and it was decided that this is going to be a written debate, and Promised Messiah accepted that, okay, let's do it. So the man came and they were going to be discussing about life and death of Isa alayhi salam. But this man just came and said, well, that's not what I want to discuss. You have to prove to me that you're a Muslim first. Because by claiming whatever you claimed, I believe that you're not a Muslim anymore. So before we can discuss if Jesus is alive versus he has passed away, you have to prove to me that you're a Muslim first. This tactic these people are still using. Just a couple days ago, an Ahmadi was debating a Shia cleric from Pakistan. So an Ahmadi was debating probably from Germany, and the Shia cleric Allah Yari was sitting in Pakistan somewhere, and they were debating online, and I caught a glimpse of this debate a little bit. And the topic of their debate was Khatm Nabuwwat, right? And this is exactly what the Shia cleric Allah Yari did. He said, I don't even consider you as a Muslim. You're not even a Muslim. He had started presenting the Dalail, the Shia scholars started presenting the Dalail from Shia literature about Khatm Nabuwwat. So the MD guy, when it was his turn, he said, what is this? I don't believe in your literature. You have to quote my literature, the one that I have accepted, which is Quran, Hadith, so on and so forth. So quote to me what I believe, which is hujjat for me. Otherwise, you're going to quote your Shia literature, which I don't accept. Then in my response, I can just start quoting the literature of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, which you don't accept. It doesn't make sense. You have to quote that which is hujjat for the other side. So quote to me the Quran and the Hadith. That's from Siyasita. And Allah Yari, he just ran. He's like, no, the reason I cannot present to you Quran and Hadith is because you're not even a Muslim. Classic runaway move, which these scholars, so-called scholars, are using today. They have learned from their predecessors more than a century ago. That is exactly what these scholars did back then. If truth is on their side, why run away? Why not be a man? Why not be man enough and, talk to the MDs from the right sources? If truth is on your side, मर्द बने और मैदान में आए और बात करें, वहां पे भाग जाते हैं. So, Maulvi Abdul Hakim Kalawari Sahab did this. Bahral, over the course of this debate, it was written debate. Promised Messiah was dictating his response. And while he was dictating, Hazur presented a reference, or quoted a reference from Bukhari. That in Bukhari there is this hadith that talks about, that in the previous ummah there were people who used to receive revelations even without being prophets. And in my ummah, if there will be people like that, I believe Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu to be one of those individuals. So Masih Maud presented this hadith, and one of the guys who was with Maulvi Abdul Hakim Kalawari, he became hyper. And he said, no, show me this hadith right now. Where is this hadith? Hazur said, hold your horses, let me finish my response first, and then at the end we'll show you. He's like, no, show it to me right now. Classic tactic to, kill time. So one of the individuals who was with Hazrat Masih Maud Islam, probably Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Asan Sahib Amrohi, radiyallahu ta'ala, he was a very big scholar of hadith. So he started going through Bukhari and he couldn't find it. When he couldn't find the reference, the side of the opponents, they were like, okay, all right, maybe we got something. Maybe Mirza Sahib misquoted something, or maybe he doesn't have it, and we can use this. So they asked Masih Maud show us now. So Masih Maud extended his hand, and Bukhari was presented to him, and he got hold of it quickly, just skipped a few pages, and then presented the book in front of the individuals. When they looked at the page which was open, the reference was right there. Everyone was shocked. A similar incident I quoted a few lectures ago. Similar incident that took place where Allah Ta'ala miraculously showed signs like these in support of Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud. After Lahore, Syedna Ahmad then proceeded to Sialkot, which is another city in the province of Punjab. While Hazur was in Lahore, Hazrat Maulana Abdul Karim Sahib Sialkoti radiyallahu ta'ala requested Hazur on behalf of members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat from Sialkot that Hazur, please come to Sialkot. You've lived, a significant amount of your life in Sialkot earlier on, so come now as well. So Hazur accepted this invitation, and then Hazur traveled to Sialkot. And same thing happened in Sialkot. People would show up in thousands to catch a glimpse of the blessed countenance of Syedna Ahmad alayhi salatu wasalam. Among such people, there was this young man who later on became a doctor. His name was Basharat Ahmad. And he came with his friend to catch a glimpse of Syedna Ahmad Islam. And he says that when I came, I saw a crowd so big that people were literally just on rooftops and just everywhere, just trying to catch a glimpse of Syedna Ahmad Islam coming outside of the house and going in, something like that. So Masih Maud Islam, he would come outside to say something and then he would go back in. So Dr. Basharat Ahmad Sahib says that I was among such individuals. Eventually he says that he was a skinny guy, so eventually he just made his way in through the crowd and he was close to the door. And he saw Promised Messiah Islam exit from one door and then enter another one. And in that very brief moment, he caught a glimpse of Hazur's face from up close as he could possibly get. And instantaneously, spontaneously, following words he uttered that he couldn't control. He said, "ये नूरानी शक्ल झूठे की नहीं हो सकती, ये शख्स सच्चा है. This blessed face cannot be that of a liar. This man is true in his claims." He says, after some time, that very day, Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud went to the adjacent mosque and led the Asr prayer. And everyone prayed, behind Sayyidna Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam. Again, individuals who say that Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam did not lead prayers, here is another reference. Around this time frame, some interesting things were also happening, apart from this. The father of Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, whom in Pakistan we call Allama Iqbal, his father became an MD. And he became an MD not necessarily by reading the literature of Masih Maud Islam, but he became an MD because Hazrat Abdul Karim Sialkoti Sahib Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu and Hamid Shah Sahib, who was another MD from Sialkot, I believe, Sayyid Hamid Shah Sahib. Both of these individuals who knew the father of Iqbal, they suggested to him that, he is the reformer of this day and age, you should give your oath of allegiance to him. So he accepted, he said, okay, fine. The name of Iqbal's dad was Sheikh Nur Muhammad Sahib. So Sheikh Nur Muhammad Sahib became an MD Muslim. He did the bayah of Syedna Masih Maud Islam. And when this tour was happening of Sialkot, on one of these days, Allama Iqbal was himself there, trying to catch a glimpse of Masih Maud Islam. And Dr. Basharat Ahmad Sahib himself is the one who quotes this. He says Iqbal was there. And he said to him, meaning Iqbal said to him, look how, Urdu mein kaha ke dekho kis tarah parwane shamma pe gire ja rahe. Look how these moths are, falling over this fire. What he meant was, look how people so anxiously are moving towards Syedna Ahmad Islam. So eventually, 5-6 years after this incident, Iqbal also did the bayah, actual bayah of Hazrat Syedna Masih Maud Islam. Iqbal's brother, his name was Sheikh Ata Muhammad. So Iqbal's brother's name was Sheikh Ata Muhammad. He also became an MD and did the bayah of Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud Islam. Iqbal's father, Sheikh Nur Muhammad Sahib, after a few years, wrote a letter to Promised Messiah Islam and said, the Jamaat of Sialkot is comprised of mainly young people. And I am an old man. I cannot run with them. So, from this moment onwards, consider me not part of this Jamaat. So he ended his bayah. Iqbal remained an MD for some time, for more than a decade or so, and then eventually drifted away and left Jamaat, and then at one point even became an anti-MD and started making statements that it's justified to consider Ahmadis as a non-Muslim entity, and even started criticizing the Ahmadiyya movement and the way Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud Islam did tabligh and presented Islam. Same Iqbal, who at one point said, if you want to see purest form of Islam in this day and age, go to Qadian, became such an anti-Ahmadi that he started spewing hate against Ahmadis. And history tells us that a lot of that actually had to do with his political assertions and aspirations. But Iqbal's brother, I believe older brother, I think he was older brother, Sheikh Muhammad Iqbal, he remained an Ahmadi. And his children, his progeny, are alhamdulillah Ahmadi. So this was on a side note related to Iqbal and Hazur's Safar of Sialkot. Batalvi Sahab also arrived in Sialkot because everywhere Hazur was going, Batalvi was, trying to shadow Hazur and try to dissuade people from coming and seeing Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. So one such incident that happened, not here but in Qadian, where another individual from the family of Masih Maud Islam, actually the brother of his first wife. The brother of his first wife one day saw that some people came to Qadian and he perceived them to be not from around. So he approached them and he said, who are you? Why are you guys here? And he also had the name Mirza in his name, right? So people said that we're here to see Mirza Sahib alayhi salam, right? He said, I'm also Mirza. And I'm a family member of, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad alayhi salam. And I can tell you, I've seen him since his childhood days. And this is just an ordinary man. He's a charlatan, God forbid. This is nothing more than to deceive and defraud people. So, this individual, he grabbed hold of his hand with both of his hands. So this man thought that maybe this man has become influenced by me. So after grabbing hold of this Mirza Sahib, he started shouting out the names of his brothers who had also come to Qadian to go and see Masih Maud Islam. So this man thought that, okay, he's calling for other people. Maybe they'll also listen to me, So when they came, he said, we had heard that on the path of Allah Ta'ala, you will find shaitan sitting over there, trying to misguide people. Today, we have seen the shaitan. So, Maulvi Muhammad Hussain Batalvi was trying to do the exact same thing and he would fail miserably time and time again. After this, so during Hazur's tour in Sialkot, many people ended up doing bay'ah of Syedna Masih Maud Islam. From here, Hazur turned to Kapurthala because he had made a promise some time back with a couple of members of the Jamaat. For example, Munshi Zafar Ahmad Sahib Kapurthalvi radiyallahu ta'ala and Munshi Arude Khan Sahib radiyallahu ta'ala. And Hazur wanted to keep his word. No entourage, no nothing, along with a couple of, Ahmadis. And remember, Hazur has already made the claim that he is the Messiah. And Hazur ends up in the local masjid in Kapurthala. He just shows up there. And he sends a message with the muezzin of that masjid that go and tell Munshi Arude Khan Sahib and Munshi Zafar Ahmad Sahib that Mirza Sahib from Qadian is here. So both of these gentlemen used to work at the Kachari, at the court in Kapurthala. So this muezzin came and he's like, okay, Mirza Sahib from Qadian is here and he sent me to ask for you guys. So one of these two gentlemen goes to the other, why would promised Messiah go to his masjid? I don't buy it. The other gentleman said, there is no harm in going and seeing. So they decided that they'll come. They came and lo and behold, Masih Maud Islam is lying down on the floor of the masjid and one of the khadim is just pressing his feet, pound the body. And they were shocked. They're like, Hazur, you should have, sent a message to us and we would have, made sure that we were properly received you. So we said, no, there is no need. I had made a promise with the two of you that I'll come, so I'm here. And then Hazur stayed a significant amount of time in Kapurthala. During Hazur's time in Kapurthala, there was another Maulvi, a Muslim cleric by the name of Ghulam Muhammad. So one specific day, Syedna Ahmad alayhi salatu wasalam spoke about different things related to his beliefs. And this Maulvi was so moved that he started crying. And emotions overtook him, and he extended his hand forward that, please Hazur, accept my bay'ah. And Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam did not accept it. Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam did not accept the bay'ah. After some time, this man became a bitter opponent of Jamaat Ahmadiyya. Reflect on this. Some people say that anyone who wants to become an Ahmadi Muslim, we should be, fully acceptable to that, and, Murabbi Sahab or local Sadr Sahab should readily sign the bay'ah form for such an individual. Many individuals, for example, many times, it happens that people convert for wrong reasons. Sometimes people may convert because, and Allah knows their true intention, we don't, right? We're people. So sometimes people may want to convert for the sake of immigration status. MDO ke case pass ho jate hain. Sometimes people convert because they want to marry an MD. Again, not the right reason to convert. But when people convert for all the wrong reasons, and other MDs are saying, oh, no, sign it. And when such individuals, when their reality comes out, or when they run away, who gets the bad name? Jamaat does. Even though Jamaat hadn't done anything wrong. Those individuals never entered Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya in the truest sense to begin with. They never believed in Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud claims. They never studied them. So, when I look at this riwayat, this narration, what I learned from this is, when somebody wants to convert, do your due diligence. Look at the person and then look at why they're converting. The acceptance of bay'ah ultimately is up to the Khalifa, the representative of Masih Maud. But that doesn't mean that we at the local level are not required to do our due diligence. At the time of Hazrat Isa alayhi wasalam, his followers, his companions would also make sure that the right people are coming to Isa alayhi wasalam, that are converted, and not someone with a shady character is getting through. After Kapurthala, Hazur moved to Jalandhar, meaning Hazur traveled to Jalandhar, and Hazur stayed there for about a month. Here, these so-called scholars and whatnot, they approached the British Hukam, the British officers, and they said that here is a man from Qadiani who claims to be the second coming of the Messiah, and so we are fearful that because of his presence in our city, there might be riots. So it might be better if you tell him to leave the city. Their intention was, they didn't want people to listen to what promised Messiah had to say. If truth was on their side, why run away? Why hide? Why try to use such cheap tactics to suppress what you or they perceive to be falsehood? All they needed to do was debate Masih Maud based on the Quran and the Sayyadis, and they did it. So they resorted to such cheap tactics. Anyways, the British officer, wanted to investigate the issue, so he came to see the Promised Messiah and he met Promised Messiah and he was so impressed by what he saw, the personality of Masih Maud that he ended up saying, sir, you stay here for as long as you like. And afterwards, whenever he would see Promised Messiah, he would take off his cap as a sign of his respect towards Hazur alayhi salatu wasalam. Then Hazur from Jalandhar, and I think Hazur stayed there for about a month. Then Hazur went to Ludhiana, and during Ludhiana, Hazur wrote a book known as Nishan-e Asmani. Nishan-e Asmani means heavenly sign. Another name for this book was Shahadatul Mulhami, the testimony from those who receive revelation from God. And in this book, Promised Messiah ﷺ presented the testimony of some of the individuals who were informed by God Almighty, even before the time of Masih Maud, that the Mahdi will come. His name is going to be Ahmad. For example, Shah Ni'matul Wali Rahmatullah alayhi came a few hundred years or so before Masih Maud, and he had presented that the name of Imam Mahdi is going to be Ahmad, and I see him. I see his time approaching fast. Another individual was Gulab Shah. Gulab Shah Madzu was a Sufi saint of his time, and he was alive when Masih Maud was still a child, young child. And he would tell his followers, Gulab Shah Madzu, he said, I've been informed by Allah the Almighty that the Messiah of this day and age has already been born. And not only that, he has already been born, he is, roughly this big now. And he is in a place called Qadiani. And his name is Ghulam Ahmad. To this extent, a man who was sitting in front of Gulab Shah Madzu at that time eventually lived long enough to become an Ahmadi Muslim. And he is the one who then narrated it to Masih Maud by taking the oath on Allah Ta'ala, that Khuda ki qasam kha ke main kehta hu ki ye baat hui and I am an eyewitness to it. He said, by God, I am an eyewitness to this. It happened in front of me. I was sitting in that gathering when Gulab Shah Madzu presented this testimony. And this individual eventually then became an Ahmadi, and Hazur presented this testimony in his book, Nishan-e-Asmani, or Heavenly Sign. Then Hazur presented a very unique way of testing his truthfulness. Hazur said, look, when somebody from Allah Ta'ala comes, it's a pretty big deal, right? Your salvation depends on it. So it is a pretty big matter. It's a matter of utmost importance. If you get it wrong, your salvation is at stake. So, Masih Maud stated, he said, do this. Do istakhara for 2 weeks, but do it in the way that I'm telling you to. If you do it for 2 weeks, this special prayer, Allah will reveal to you if I am true in my claim or not. 2 weeks. There are people who spend decades of their life pursuing different endeavors. Is 2 weeks of their time too much to investigate about the claim of Masih Maud? If they do this and Allah Ta'ala reveals to them that Syedna Ahmad is wrong, leave. But if you do this and Allah the Almighty reveals to such a person that Mirza Sahib is indeed from Allah Ta'ala, he has gained everything. So Masih Maud presented this special way of doing istakhara, and he said, do it for 2 weeks. So I have with me the exact words that Promised Messiah wrote in his book Nishan-e-Asmani, and I will now quote. अगर हजूर फरमाते हैं, इस जगह ये भी बतौर तबलीग के लिखता हूँ कि हक के तालिब जो मुवाखज़ा इलाही से डरते हैं वो बिला तहकीक इस ज़माने के मौलवियों के पीछे ना चले और आखिरी ज़माने के मौलवियों से जैसा कि पैगंबर खुदा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने डराया है वैसे ही डर करें. He said that now I address people and I say that don't run after listening to these Maulvis. In this day and age, you have these so-called YouTuber Maulvis, right? So Hazur is saying, don't run after these Maulvis and don't blindly listen to what they are saying. After all, was it not Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam who himself had stated about the evil condition of these so-called Maulvis and the ulama of the latter days of the time of Masih Maud. He then said, और इनके फतवों को देखकर हैरान ना हो जाने. And don't be shocked by looking at these fatwas that these so-called Maulvis are issuing against me. क्योंकि ये फतवे कोई नई बात नहीं है. Because such फतावा are not anything new. और अगर इस आजिज पर शक हो और वो दावा जो इस आजिज ने किया है उसकी सेहत की निस्बत दिल में शुबा हो, तो मैं एक आसान सूरत रफ़ा शक की बतलाता हूँ जिससे एक तालिब सादिक इंशाअल्लाह मुतमईन हो सकता है, और वो ये है. He says, if after all of this someone is still in doubt about my truthfulness, here is what I'm presenting, what I'm proposing. And if anyone who is sincerely, genuinely investigating about my claim will be satisfied by doing this. He says, and I quote, अव्वल तौबा नसूह करके रात के वक्त 2 रकत नमाज पढ़ें, जिसकी पहली रकत में सूरह यासीन और दूसरी रकत में 21 मरतबा सूरह इखलास हो, और फिर बाद इसके 300 मरतबा दुरूद शरीफ और 300 मरतबा इस्तग़फ़ार पढ़कर खुदा ताला से ये दुआ करें कि ए कादिर करीम तू पोशीदा, ए कादिर करीम तू पोशीदा हालात को जानता है और हम नहीं जानते, और मकबूल और मरदूद और मुफ्तरी और सादिक तेरी नज़र से पोशीदा नहीं रह सकता, बस हम आजिज़ी से तेरी जनाब में इल्तिजा करते हैं कि इस शख्स का तेरे नज़दीक के जो मसीह मऊद और महदी और मुजद्दिदुल वक्त होने का दावा करता है क्या हाल है, क्या सादिक है या काज़िब, और मकबूल है या मरदूद। अपने फजल से ये हाल रोया या कशफ या इल्हाम से हम पर जाहिर फरमा, तो अगर मरदूद है तो इसके कबूल करने से हम गुमराह ना हो, और अगर मकबूल है और तेरी तरफ से है तो इसके इनकार और इसकी इहानत से हम हलाक ना हो जाएं। हमें हर एक किस्म के फितने से बचा कि हर एक कुव्वत तुझको ही है, आमीन। ये इस्तिखारा कम से कम 2 हफ्ते करें, लेकिन अपने नफ्स से खाली होकर, क्योंकि जो शख्स पहले ही बुख से भरा हुआ है और बदजनी उस पर गालिब आ गई है, अगर वो ख्वाब में शख्स का हाल दरियाफ्त करना चाहे जिसको वो बहुत ही बुरा जानता है, तो शैतान आता है और मुवाफिक इस जुल्मत के जो उसके दिल में है और पुरजुल्मत ख्यालात अपनी तरफ से उसके दिल में डाल देता है, बस उसका पिछला हाल पहले से भी बदतर होता है। सो अगर तो खुदाए ताला से कोई खबर दरियाफ्त करना चाहे तो अपने सीने को बकुल्ली बुग़्ज़ और अनात से धो डालो और अपने तई बकुल्ली खाली नफ्स करके और दोनों पहलुओं बुग़्ज़ और मोहब्बत से अलग होकर उससे हिदायत की रोशनी मांग कि वो ज़रूर अपने वादे के मुवाफिक अपनी तरफ से रोशनी नाजिल करेगा, जिस पर नफसानी ओहाम का कोई दुखान नहीं होगा। सो ए हक के तालिबो, इन मौलवियों की बातों से फितने में मत पड़ो, उठो और कुछ मुजाहिदा करके इस कवि और कदीर और अलीम और हादी मुतलक से मदद चाहो, और देखो कि अब मैंने ये रूहानी तबलीग भी कर दी है, आइंदा तुम्हें इख्तियार है। हज़रत अक़दस मसीह मऊद अलैहिस्सलाम stated that if you're still in doubt about my claim, then do istakhara, ask Allah Almighty directly. And the way to perform this specific istakhara is that after the Isha prayer at night time, repent in front of Allah Ta'ala and read 2 rakah namaz. In the first rakah you recite Surah Yasin, and in the second rakah you recite Surah Ikhlas 21 times. And then 300 times Durood Sharif, which is Salat al-Nabi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin, that we recite in the namaz. And 300 times istaghfar, which is astaghfirullah rabbi min kulli dhanbin wa atubu ilayh. And then pray to Allah the Almighty in the following words that, O mighty and honorable God, the reality of affairs is hidden from us but not hidden from you. So tell us, show us by way of vision or a true dream or even revelation, if this man who claims to be the Messiah and the Mahdi, if he is true in his claim or not. Because if he is not true in his claim, then we should know so that we stay away from him and not be misguided. But if he is from you, then show it to us so that we can follow him and we don't oppose him, and thereby, as a result of opposing him and rejecting him, we become under the divine wrath. And as you said, do this istikhara for at least 2 weeks, but do it in a neutral frame of mind. Don't be inclined towards the promised Messiah Islam, nor inclined away from him. Be very neutral, and then do this istikhara for 2 weeks, and he says, Allah Ta'ala will show you the truthfulness about my claim. How simple is that? If someone still does not take up this suggestion of Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud Islam, then they are answerable before God Almighty. After this, Hazrat Masih Maud Islam came back to Qadiani. Abhi kitni der rehti hai ji? That's good. I'll keep talking. आप लोग थक तो नहीं गए ना? आप लोग थक तो नहीं गए? अच्छा, मैं बीमार होके नहीं थका, आप लोग सेहतमंद होके नहीं थकने चाहिए. So promised Messiah Islam then came back to Qadian. And after he came back to Qadian, Allah Ta'ala sent revelation to Promised Messiah Islam. Allah Ta'ala revealed to Promised Messiah and commanded him. Now Allah Ta'ala said, now I am commanding you to challenge these ulama who are issuing fatwa of takfir against you. Challenge them to a prayer duel. Mubahile ke liye bulao. So Promised Messiah Islam then penned an announcement. He wrote an announcement which he published, and this was done on the 10th of December 1892, in which Hazur addressed these Maulvis, primarily Maulvi Nazir Hussain Delvi, the chief Maulvi from Delhi. And in his absence, if Maulvi Nazir Hussain does not accept this challenge, then Maulvi Muhammad Hussain Batalvi and others. And regarding Maulvi Muhammad Hussain Batalvi, Hazur said, now is the time for Maulvi Muhammad Hussain Batalvi to come forward. If he does not accept this challenge, then everyone should consider Maulvi Muhammad Hussain Batalvi to have taken back his fatwa kufr against me. So Hazur cornered Maulvi Muhammad Hussain Batalvi. So now Batalvi had no other way out. So he said, okay, I'll come for the Mubahila. But here are my conditions. On the day of the Mubahila, you're not allowed to do any speech. I won't do any speech either. It's just going to be Mubahila. Hazur said, fine. Another Maulvi agreed. His name was Maulvi Abdul Haq Ghaznavi. He was from the family of the children of Maulvi Abdullah Ghaznavi Sahib Marhum, Rahimahullah, the Sufi saint that I have spoken in previous lectures. So Abdul Haq Ghaznavi also agreed to this Mubahila. The day of the Mubahila is set sometime in May, 27th of May 1893. And the place for Mubahila was decided to be Eidgah in Amritsar, in the city of Amritsar. So now imagine all these people show up over there along with Masih Maud Islam and his followers. And prayer duel is about to happen. And Hazur is sitting with his followers and a big crowd is there. And then Maulvi Muhammad Hussain Batalvi comes and he sits on one side with some of his followers and goes back on his word. He's not interested in doing the Mubahila. He just wants to do his speech. So people say, you're not here for speech, you're here for Mubahila, let's get on with it. He's like, no. No Mubahila. The man ran away again. So, he did that. And Maulvi Abdul Haq Ghaznavi was there. And Promised Messiah Islam eventually just stood up. And instead of praying against the other individual, he prayed to Allah Ta'ala, oh Allah, if I am not from you, if I am false in my claims, then send down upon me the worst of the punishments reserved for anyone, the like of which no one has ever seen before. If I am false in my claims, then punish me this way. But if I am true, then show your support for me. Promised Messiah, in that gathering, in that moment, one of the students of Maulvi Abdullah Ghaznavi Sahib was also there. He came forward and fell to the feet of Masih Maud Islam and said, Hazur, please accept my bay'ah. People left, right and center were converted. After this, Batalvi Sahib wanted to go and try to deliver a speech in some masjid in Amritsar. People were like, get away from here. You're not a serious character. While Hazur was there, these scholars started saying, well, Mirza Sahib should have debated us. So Promised Messiah issued an announcement saying, 3 days from today, I'll go back. You have 3 days time. Anyone who wants to debate me, tell me time and place and I'll show up. Don't cry afterwards. So one of the Rais from Amritsar went to these Maulvis. His name was Khwaja Yusuf Sahib. So he went to these Maulvis and said, well, Mirza Sahib is here. 3 days from today, he's going to leave. So now is the time. Chop, chop. Let's get going. So they're like, okay, yeah, give us some time. Let us decide who's going to be debating from amongst us and we'll let you know. And then one day before Masih Maud Islam's travel back to Qadian, Khwaja Yusuf Sahib goes back to these Maulvis looking for them and he can't find them. He can't find them anywhere. So he goes to the main masjid and he says to the Muslim, where are these Maulvis? The Maulvis were hiding inside the masjid in a small room. And they told the Muslim, lock the door from outside. Anyone who comes asking for us, tell them we've gone to some dawat. So Khwaja Yusuf Sahib asked this Muazzin. Muazzin says, I don't know, they went to some dawat. So Khwaja Yusuf is now going from one place to another, and he's getting tired. Eventually he comes back And he asked the Muazzin, where did these guys go to Dawat? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, give me the keys. He got the key for the rooms of the masjid and he started opening them one by one. And he notices the Maulvis are sitting scared, hiding in there. He's like, what is wrong with you guys? First you said Mirza Sahib should have debated you, and now when he's here asking you to come and debate him, you guys are hiding away. They're like, no, we were just deciding who's gonna debate him. Just go and we're coming. Khwaja Yusuf Sahib left and these guys did not go. So when Masih Maud left for Qadian, they started publishing the announcement, Mirza bhag gaya, Mirza bhag gaya. Mirza Sahib ran away, Mirza Sahib ran away. One of the Maulvi who was there, his name was Maulvi Ghulam. He said, we shouldn't run away from, we shouldn't say that we're not going to debate Mirza Sahib. But what we should do is, we should say, we'll debate him in Makkah, or in Medina, or in Kabul. Because Mirza Sahib will neither go to Makkah, Medina, or Kabul, and this way the debate wouldn't happen. And because the debate wouldn't happen, we won't be embarrassed. Tahir al-Qadri made this claim against Hazrat Khalifatul Masih that, you know, when Hazur had migrated to England, he said, oh, come to Minar-e-Pakistan in Lahore, and then we will jump from there. He knew Hazrat Sahib is not going to come to Pakistan. These cheap tactics, these so-called scholars have been using for more than a century. And nothing has changed ever since, unfortunately. But what we see is the way their cheap tactics didn't change, Allah Ta'ala's support for Jamaat Ahmadiyya also didn't change. Allah Ta'ala, the same Allah Ta'ala who supported Masih Maud al-Islam more than a century ago, is still supporting his Jamaat and his Khalifa to this day and age, and will continue to do so, inshallah Ta'ala, till the day of judgment. Last word on this is another thing that had happened in this year, I didn't have enough time to talk about it, is the prophecy related to Muhammadi Begum. So the sign of the Muhammadi Begum, eventually, this was the year when it was supposed to happen. This is the year when Ahmad Beg, the father of Muhammadi Begum, decided to have her married to go against the revelation from Allah the Almighty. Because I don't have enough time and the event falls in this year 1892, I have recorded a lecture on this very topic a few months ago, but I was unable to release it. I'm releasing it today. As a matter of fact, right after this lecture ends, that video will be live, and anyone who wants to listen to the facts and details of the prophecy related to Muhammadi Begum, you can watch that and it's all there. Inshallah Ta'ala, tomorrow we'll cover 1893. And last word is that don't forget, Promised Messiah said, if you're in doubt about his claim, do the istakhara the way he presented it in his book, The Heavenly Sign. Do it for 2 weeks and Allah Ta'ala will show you. After this, no one has any excuse to say that they are still in doubt about the truthfulness of Promised Messiah. If someone is still doing this, then they're just either dishonest or lazy. Wa akhiru dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Muhammadur Rasulullah.